There are three things you need to know before you watch my interview with Mike Paulus of Addepar. Number one, Mike has had a title change from President to Chief Strategy Officer for Addepar. Number two, I had some technical difficulties with the audio. About 7 minutes in, you'll notice I switched from our microphones over to the onboard camera audio, but you still can hear the entire interview. And number three, in the interest of full disclosure, Addepar gave me this awesome t-shirt for free. Enjoy. Hi, I'm Bill Winterberg of FPPad.com. I'm here in Mountain View, California with Mike Paulus, President of Addepar. Mike, thank you for joining me today.
Well, thank you so much for having me.
So, Mike, there is somewhat of a mystery and perhaps misunderstanding among independent registered investment advisors about what Addepar is and what you do in the industry. So, can you provide some background about what Addepar is doing?
Yeah, absolutely. And I'd first say that mystery has been very intentional. We've grown entirely through word of mouth, through successful deployments and happy clients. So up until now, we've had no external sales or marketing that hasn't been in the budget. We've been focused really on building. But a brief background into Addepar, so we're just about 4 years old. We're 85 employees. Most of those are engineers. We're right here in the heart of the Silicon Valley. Google is about 200 feet that way. Mm-hmm. And we have about 100 billion in assets that are on our platform. The vast majority of those are RIAs, but we more broadly make tools for wealth managers. So in addition to RIAs, we have single family offices, multifamily offices, as well as more institutional endowments, foundations, large banks, that sort of thing.
So Mike, when Addepar was formed in 2009, what was that one major problem or one major opportunity that you had seen and targeted in terms of building this great wealth management platform?
Like many great companies, I think it was someone solving their own problem. So our founder, Joe Lonsdale, was a computer scientist from Stanford, and he had the good fortune to be involved and found some very successful companies. So he started his career at PayPal and solved a lot of the fraud problems there. And after that, formed Palantir, which is technology that forms the backbone for the CIA, the FBI, as well as most of the major banks. So as Palantir became a multi-billion-dollar company and had a lot of success, Joe began to focus on his own wealth management and building out his family office. And he looked at the tools that were available to him and really didn't see any tools that met his need. And I think if you had to really summarize it, the first was modern, really well-built technology. The second was technology that dealt with an entire portfolio. So Joe had a number of different custodians as well as a lot of illiquid and alternative assets, and dealing with that in its native language. And Joe wanted to do more than just portfolio counting. He wanted a tool that he could use to analyze his portfolio, to report assets not maybe in just the traditional asset class ways, but also in the ways that were relevant to him and his goals and his unique situation. And that was really the foundation for Addepar.
So from the origins of the family office environment with some of those complex products, how well does the Addepar product now scale down, perhaps, and down may or may not be the right word, but it's the word that I used, down to the independent RIA channel? Because some of these RIAs may not be managing private equity and group partnerships, but rather they're doing ETFs and stock and mutual fund trading. Mm-hmm. So how well does Addepar translate into that environment?
Very well. And I think actually some of our happiest clients are RIAs. And there's a couple of things that we've seen where RIAs really benefit in ways that family offices don't. The first is that RIAs are small business owners, and we've seen on average RIAs have between 1.5 and 2 employees that on a full-time basis are just doing data aggregation and reporting. So we can drive efficiencies in their business in a way that we can't with family offices. And a lot of our workflows around billing and reporting are just better suited to RIAs. I also think that RIAs have the ability to tell a story and use Addepar to tell a story in the way that family offices may not. So we see things like goals-based reporting or really bespoke reporting for each of the different clients that you might have. And those are areas where RIAs are using us in a way that the family offices may not. And I'd also say that although RIAs and certain RIAs may not focus on alternative assets, almost everyone has a house or a couple of private investments they made. for many people, a lot of their net worth is tied up in an operating company. So even being able to bring those in and report on those in a native way and incorporate those into your story and your asset allocation is an area that we've seen a lot of benefits.
Yeah, I think a lot of independent RIAs, they target the business owner, small business owner, but a large part of the tools that are available today really fail to benchmark and track some of those closely held investments, right?
Absolutely. And if you have a house and you have a business, is that reflected in your asset allocation, or are you still making additional real estate investments? And another piece is when we look at RIAs and the conversations you're having with clients, they're about goals, they're about cash flow needs, they're about what are you trying to do with your life? And then we see reports that come out that are based on custodial accounts or based on asset classes, and the reporting itself doesn't reflect the conversation that we're having. So a lot of the focus with Addepar was the flexibility to have reports that continue our narrative, and not just reports, but also a client portal that's bespoke for you. If we have a conversation and you as a small business owner tell me, hey, here's the 3 or 4 things I'm worried about, how can I go in and adopt your client portal in a matter of seconds or minutes to be customized to you and have that be something that you can see whenever you want?
Very cool. So I imagine the audience, now that they're getting that backstory of Addepar and how well it transitions into the independent RIA market, walk me through some of the fees. What is a typical RIA looking at? Because I understand it's actually value-based and based on complexity that RIA brings into your environment. So speak a little bit about fees that RIAs can expect to pay with Addepar.
Yeah, absolutely. So first of all, what do you get for Addepar? And we do all the aggregation, so we build our own feeds into the major banks. On top of that, we reconcile the data. So we have a team, a very talented team that again blends technology as well as manpower to give the reconciliation the best possible data accuracy that you can.
Oh, great.
On top of that system, we're bringing in market data. So we provide to our clients more than a dozen different data providers. That's everything from augmenting your bonds with bond ratings to bringing in thousands of different benchmarks. And then on top of that, we do all the analysis, the reporting, your bill center, a lightweight CRM system. We also do document storage and your client portal. So typically we're actually replacing 2 or 3 different systems.
Right.
Now when we went to how we would approach pricing, what we saw a lot of advisors say, and kind of complaints of legacy systems, were one, it's unpredictable. I never know if I have a good year and my accounts or my assets rise, I might have to pay more or less. The other thing that we heard was they were tired of getting nickel and dime. They pick up the phone to call support. Is that going to be a couple $100 an hour? If I need a new report, is that going to cost me $20,000? So what we said with Addepar is let's make this really simple. Let's give someone a one-time annual fee, and that's all you're going to pay for the year, no matter how you grow, no matter what happens in your business. If you call us, that's our fault, not yours. If we develop a feature together, that's fantastic. Yes. Everyone benefits from that. So we said, let's have it be predictable for the length of the contract, exactly what you'll pay. In terms of how to calculate that, really we want the pricing to reflect our own complexity. So the big things that drive that are number of custodians, number of assets, internal users, external users, and the goal is that every RIA is unique. And for example, if you have a big illiquid stock position, that doesn't take a lot of work for us to analyze. And we really want you to look at your whole portfolio. So we want to incentivize our clients to look at that. And I'd say the final piece for our pricing is we base it upon our clients' ROI. So we're always trying to deliver far more value than we take. And that's both hard costs in terms of driving efficiencies, as well as giving far better reporting, far better client experience, and how to use Addepar, not just as a cost item to run your business, but also to grow your business.
Wow, it's really compelling about the things that you talked about the functions that Addepar can augment and somewhat replace. I think you've really put out a compelling value proposition out there. So for advisors and viewers who are watching this, where can they get more information about Addepar and maybe engage you to have that conversation of how complex my business is and what I can expect to pay?
Yeah, so I highly encourage you to visit us on our website. That's www.addepar.com. And from there, go ahead, reach out to us through our contact form. We'd be more than happy to give you a demo or have a conversation, put you in touch with current clients, anything you like.
That's great, Mike. Anything else you'd like to add?
I'd say that our number one priority is hiring and continuing to hire the very best engineers, and I'm proud to say that this last week we actually had the inventor of the PDF join us, so that was particularly interesting.
How about that? But you're in almost arguably no better place to hire talent and retain great individuals that can really propel Addepar forward.
You know, it's interesting because it's a very competitive environment in Silicon Valley, and the engineers that we have here we've taken away from places like Facebook and Google, and what's been really heartening for me is to see engineers really want to make a difference, and when they look at another iPad or iPhone app that really isn't as compelling as them, and it's really trying to help advisors and help change a lot of the things that are wrong in the financial industry. So we've had a lot of success here in Silicon Valley, I think, because of that broader mission and because advisors are doing important work. If you can help them, that's a cause of resonance amongst engineers.
I think that's a great mission and a great goal for everybody at Addepar to pursue. So Mike, thank you so much for taking the time to provide an overview of Addepar and give me more information about it.
My pleasure.
All right. From Mountain View, California, I'm Bill Winterberg of FPPAD.